Hey friends, welcome back to Mustard Seed Homesteading. My name is Megan, and if you're new here, I'm so glad you stopped by because this is my weekly Greenstalk Garden Tour and Harvest where I share everything that's going on with the Greenstalks while we do some harvesting. Before we get started, I do want to let you know of a couple of things. I did just finally harvest all of my onions out of the Greenstalks as well as my 2 wood beds, and if you're interested in seeing how that went, I will leave that video down below. I also want to mention that I have been thinking about doing a series of how-tos when it comes to the Greenstalks. So for example, I want to talk more about their accessories. I want to talk more about soil health, what I do with my soil, whether I dump it for the winter season or keep it, the mulch I use, the soil I use, all of those things. So I'm sharing this because I think my very first video is going to be on the bases. I could not grow on my driveway without the rolling bases. They have been key to growing in the Greenstalks. So that's actually going to be my first video that I do, but I am sharing this because I want to hear from all of you if there's anything in particular that you want me to talk about or make a very specific and detailed video on when it comes to the Greenstalks. Please leave them down in the comments below so that I can put something together. And the reason I really want to do this series is I remember when I first started gardening, I was constantly looking stuff up. So I figured, you know what? I would love to put something together, a little playlist for new beginners or to go back to. I mean, I even find myself going back to looking stuff up. I'm not a professional. I will never claim to be a professional and I know everything because this whole channel is about my journey, but I do want to share the things that I've just learned along the way and that I use in my garden. With that being said, we've got to get going because today has been on and off raining. I'm not complaining though. We have really needed the rain. It has been incredibly hot. No rain. I think for about 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks straight, I felt like I was watering the garden on a daily basis. So I'm not complaining, but we do need to get going. And I think we have enough tomatoes out of the Greenstalks that I can share my recipe at the end of the video. It is my favorite summer salad, and it's not just the tomatoes. I like to use cucumbers and peppers as well. So we are going to be harvesting some tomatoes and some other things, and I will be sharing that recipe at the very end of the video. Okay, before we come over here to the Greenstalks on the trellis, because you can see, look at how large everything's gotten. There's tomatoes all the way on the top of the trellis up there. I'm gonna have to get my step ladder or something, but I am beyond excited with how this has been turning out. I did come in here a couple of days ago and did a lot of cleaning. I had to add a couple of bamboo sticks in there just to give a lot of the plants support. So I will come back to this because we finally have that pepper down there to harvest. I'm so excited. By the way, I know this is not part of the Greenstalk Garden Tour, but friends, look at this gorgeous cantaloupe. I will be sharing it on the backyard garden tour and giving updates on all the melons back here, but I am really excited with how everything's turning out. Now, a quick update on these 3. So I finally harvested all the onions out of the blackberry, and my goal now is to plant some leeks in here for the end of summer going into fall and maybe even going into winter. So I did start some seed on my shelves down in the bottom area of my garden next to the retaining wall. So hopefully I will be planting that soon, and then I've been sharing that I'm just going to leave those 2 until garlic season. The 3-tier green Greenstalk that's on my back little patio is doing phenomenal. Now, I will say some of my dwarf tomatoes, and they seem to do this every year, but they look like they're dying. So I might actually start some more of these just because, I don't know, that looks pretty dead. But we do have some tomatoes to harvest. And we have a little Jimmy Nardello to harvest. I'm actually really excited to see how this is growing in the Greenstalk. And I shared last week, and I will give you updates when we go to the driveway, but I have 2 3-tier brown Greenstalks that I planted, one all peppers, and then the other one is majority peppers, and I did put a couple of tomatoes at the very top. Some of them died on me though, but so far they're doing really good, and we'll use this in our salad too. And then I wanted to show you the sunflowers. Look at how beautiful they are coming out of the Greenstalk. I purposely put them on the top tier so that I could see them. But look at, here's the teddy bear. Isn't it beautiful? Oh, these just put a smile on my face. And I love how it has side shoots too. I absolutely think it just makes the whole plant fun to grow. I also have the Purple Rain and the Rio Grande bushing tomato. I don't see anything yet, but I think we might be getting some very soon. Here's some Rio Grande. So they're starting to grow. I cannot wait to harvest these. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and we're going to harvest some of these. And I'm gonna harvest them even like this and just let them get red in the kitchen. By the way, these fell off because I did not have them properly trellised. And so I actually left them here specifically to show you guys. And so I'm just going to take off as many tomatoes as I can and let them hopefully turn red in the kitchen too. Now for this fun trellis. So let's go on the left side first, and then we will make our way over to this side. When I tell you I'm very excited about this, so this is the yellow monster pepper. And these seeds are new from Haas. I have been waiting for this to turn completely yellow, and you can see there's still a little bit of hint of green, but friends, I am just going to harvest this now and we're going to use this in our salad. The other thing too is I have a few tomatoes that are not completely red, but we're going to harvest them because one of them is actually splitting because we've been getting a lot of rain. So this is actually a new variety. This is the independent tomato. It is a bushing tomato, which is why I'm trying it out this year in the Greenstalk, and you can see it has gotten pretty tall. I feel like bushing tomatoes is always a hit or miss. You just never know if they're going to get super tall or just a little tall. So we're going to harvest this one, and then we have two more in a different pocket to harvest. And here's some more tomatoes. So we're gonna harvest these two, but I did actually end up cleaning a lot of leaves off because they were dead, but this also gets exposed to the sun more than other spots of the Greenstalk. So I'm not super concerned. As long as I get tomatoes, I'm happy. And then you can see this one actually started splitting right there, which to me is no big deal. So we're just gonna let this sit on the counter and get a little bit more red and use this for a recipe. We also have some cherry tomatoes. So this is the Yellow Choice Patio. It's a tongue twister for me, I don't know why, but I'm gonna go ahead and harvest these too. And we have a lot of little tomatoes there too against the trellis, so hopefully we'll be harvesting a lot more in the next couple weeks. By the way, before we go over to the other side, I did want to show you some of the cucumbers that are growing in here. So we're gonna grab this one. That one will be on the other side because I can't grab it from here. And then on this side that we're gonna go take a look at, we have another cucumber. They are just growing. I feel like every week we're harvesting cucumbers. I love it. Oh, and this one too. I didn't see you. Okay, we're gonna grab this one. And then look at this little beauty. I love it. I just realized there's another cucumber right there that I have to get on the other side. Okay, I just saw these two. So I'm out here every day, but sometimes with everything going on back here, I don't always have a chance to see everything. So sometimes when I'm out here filming, I'm just as surprised as you are when you see this. Oh, you're stuck. Okay, let's see if I could do this. I clearly can't do it with one hand with a cucumber in my hand. So let's do that. And look, there's more out there too. There's one right here and here. This is really exciting. All right, you know what I just felt? I felt something slimy, and you know what I see? I think there's actually a cucumber worm in here. Now let me tell you something. The way I am in my garden, whenever I see that there's a cucumber worm that got into my cucumber, what I like to do is cut it open and see what part of the cucumber was affected. And if even a quarter of it or half of it's fine, I will go ahead and eat it. Now, I'm definitely gonna have to keep an eye on these cucumbers back here, but what is nice about this section of my garden, since I put the Greenstalks up this year, because this is new for me this year, having these up here on the trellis, because I started these cucumber plants earlier, these cucumber plants got a late start, but I'm actually really liking how this went and the fact that I did start these later, because typically what happens is that when I start these early on, they get pretty destroyed in the very beginning of July, give or take, because of the heat and everything. And all I see is really healthy cucumber plants. So I feel like I'm getting my first wave of cucumbers from the Greenstalks, and then this right here is going to be my second wave of cucumbers. And it also might be that I end up planting extra cucumber plants if these die or just stop giving me cucumbers, and I could hopefully maybe even get a third wave of cucumbers. Now, when it comes to this side, you can see I've added some bamboo sticks. Some I have sticking out because this area of my garden, I can do that. Some of them I have going straight up because I don't want it to interfere with some other plants. But you can see, look at all of those beautiful tomatoes. I am very happy to see how these are doing. And what I also did was I cleaned up a lot of dead leaves so that some of these pepper plants could get more sunlight and just be able to breathe. And that's really what I'm finding myself doing, is just coming out here and cleaning up a lot of the dead leaves or leaves that are giving too much weight on the plant and letting everything breathe. Now I'm gonna step on here so we can go ahead and get our cucumber, which, by the way, friends, I've actually shared these boots only on my backyard garden tour. These are my Hessia boots. I've worn these boots for, not these in particular, but I've been using Hessia for about 2 to 3 years, love them. And they recently reached out to me and I was like, absolutely, because I really love their boots. I wore them so much that I wore the sole out. I'll show you a quick picture right here. And they sent me these, and then because those were worn out, they sent me a replacement because it's a lifetime guarantee boot. But they sent me these, and I cannot begin to tell you how comfortable they are. I love these boots. So if you're looking for a garden boot, they're definitely worth checking out. I will leave everything in the description below and my discount code for 20% off. All right, but I am up top here, which I gotta say, I love standing on top of this deck. But let's go ahead and get our cucumber that is way down there. Look at these over here. Look at these beautiful tomatoes. And there's one over there too, right by the trellis. Very exciting. Oh, and you know what? We've got some new lemons. These are like the lemon peppers, lemon jalapenos, I mean. They turn yellow. So you can see they're kind of lime greenish, but I'm gonna wait until they turn yellow so you can see how they look. You could pick them green like this, but I wanna wait so you can see them yellow. I came back up here to grab the other cucumber, but look at all of those cucumber plants. They're so pretty. Everything looks really healthy too up here. Beautiful, just beautiful. And I'll grab some tomatoes too since I'm up here. I think there's a couple. Oh, maybe just one. I'll take one. All right, now we're on the other end. I did want to quickly show you. So I do have a cantaloupe growing out of this pocket, and so far so good. I don't see any melons yet, but I'm definitely keeping a close eye on everything. Hopefully we will get some. Now with the loofahs we have growing out of these two pockets, I do have some in grow bags, but we're talking Greenstalks. So these two pockets have loofahs and they're growing really nice right here. I just don't see anything yet, but they've made it all the way to the top right there. They're looking healthy, so I'm just gonna stay patient. The other thing I noticed when I was doing a lot of cleaning is the sunflowers, and I feel like the dwarf tomatoes need to be maybe replanted. And I'm actually thinking what I should be doing is maybe starting a second set of those, like maybe, I don't know, the end of June, so that I could put in some new plants when they start to look like this. What I am really excited though is the Roma bush tomatoes. So I am trying them out in the Greenstalks. Typically they do phenomenal in my grow bags. They do really good in my raised beds, but I'm like, I really want to try them in my Greenstalks. And so far they're looking good. Now they are getting pretty tall. I had a feeling that was going to happen, so I tried to strategically put them in like the second or third tier. And so far I've been able to maintain them. This one right here is the one that's gotten the wildest, but look at all the tomatoes on here. They are absolutely gorgeous. So I'm just gonna have to keep a very close eye on these and see how they do to see if I want to continue to do this. And look, there's more tomatoes over here by the trellis too. Lots and lots of tomatoes. Very, very happy. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and grab that beautiful cucumber right there. I just realized that there's a Jimmy Nardello right here. I'm so glad they're bright red because I would not have seen it. And I took the top off on accident. That's okay. Gorgeous. I will say I put most of my peppers on the bottom tier and I think some on the second tier. I'm very happy with putting the peppers there. I might next year do peppers in the second tier and then tomatoes in the third tier, because I think that would be a lot better. Now, last time I forgot to show these two Greenstalks, and I don't want to do that again, but we do need to get down to the driveway also because I'm starting to kind of lose light and the gray skies are not helping. So I want to give an update on this because when I tell you, I am super impressed with how this Greenstalk and this Greenstalk is doing with this trellis next to this bed with another trellis. I am so happy that we decided to do this. And then over here, it has reached all the way to the top. So I am very, very pleased with this. With that being said, I have the same kind of things in here. I have peppers, tomatoes, basil, cucumbers, everything pretty much the same as the other Greenstalks we just harvested from. So we are going to harvest a few things that are also ready on these Greenstalks. And then we have this one over here as well. And what I really like about having this next to my other trellis is some of my cucumber plants or even tomato plants that need extra support, I can lean it against these posts. And here's an example of what I mean. You see how this tomato plant is coming out of the pocket? I am just leaning it up against this bed right here for support. Now, I would use a bamboo stick or one of Greenstalk's trellises, but I have this post here and I'm like, well, you know what? Why not? I can always tie it to the post with jute twine and get support that way. And we do have some cherry tomatoes here to add to our salad at the very end, so I'm gonna grab those as well. By the way, I wanted to show you, so I did actually plant some dill in here and it didn't make it, but that's okay, because what I want to see happen is for this to go to seed, and then I'm gonna shake some seed in these pockets so I can get volunteer dill, because I love to get volunteer plants and they seem to do really well in the Greenstalk, especially for instance the Tulsi Holy Basil, and hopefully I can remember to show you on the driveway. It has just taken over one of my Greenstalk top tiers and it's beautiful. So when it starts to do this, I'm fine with that. I want to try now to get seed. So here's a Napoleon sweet pepper. I didn't even know this was growing down here, or maybe I didn't, I just forgot. But we're gonna wait until this turns red. By the way, I just have to say my pepper beds, speaking of peppers, are doing so good. I just have to show this to you because it's really exciting. Look at these sweet little purple peppers. Aren't they just, look at how cute those are. I am so excited about this. This is the Pippin's Golden Honey. I've never grown these before, but they're so pretty. And look at this. Okay, this is the Violet Sparkle. Look at how gorgeous that is. I mean, I cannot get over how good the peppers are doing this year. I cannot wait to show this on the tour. So I just had to quickly show you because they're just so pretty. And who knows, I might end up growing one of these varieties in the Greenstalk depending on how tall they get, because you can see I've had to add a couple of bamboo sticks because some of these are getting really tall. All right, now that we've gone through all of the Greenstalks in the backyard garden, let's make our way to the driveway garden because I've been moving a few things and I finally planted the jicama, which if you don't know what jicama is, I will leave a picture right here. I want to say I first tried them in my garden like 2 years ago, and I was blown away when I went to go harvest it because when I went to pull it out of the soil, it looked, first of all, the leaves looked dead. It looked like there was nothing under the soil, and then all of a sudden there was this beautiful root vegetable that came out, and I was just incredibly impressed. So now what I'm doing is I'm testing them out in the Greenstalk this year. So I planted an entire Greenstalk, I believe it's the peppercorn color that was on clearance. So the entire thing is all jicama. Now I am planting it a little bit later than I wanted to, so I'm not sure how they're going to do this year, but since I have the Greenstalk up and it's already full of soil, next year I will get a head start a lot earlier in case it doesn't come out the way I want to this year. But I'm hoping it'll come out great this year. All right, so here are all of the green stalks. I'm gonna go ahead and do a little bit of harvesting real quick because we have some peppers that I wanna harvest, and then I'm going to share a little bit of everything that I am doing down here. I have a ton of jalapenos here, so I'm gonna go ahead and harvest some of these. And friends, we have a bell pepper to harvest. And there's a beautiful bell pepper. I have shared this before, and I think it is finally ready to harvest. This is the Cali Wonder, so I'm actually quite impressed. The Cali Wonder seems to be doing good this year. So there is the beautiful 3-tier green stalks with the peppers. I wanted to quickly show this to you because I'm going to harvest this real quick, but look at how well everything is doing. I'm very impressed. My goal is to overwinter these peppers, and hopefully I can just bring this out next spring or summer and I can actually start getting peppers earlier. And who knows, maybe I can actually grow peppers in my garage. I'm not really sure because the Ultimate Mover is on here and it allows you to water the green stalk in your home or your greenhouse or wherever it is. So I don't know, we're gonna see how this goes. And then here's the other one. I don't have any peppers to harvest, but everything's looking really healthy. So we're gonna start over here on the outer part because I'm actually adding some green stalks over here, but I wanna show you how the sweet potatoes are doing. You can see they're vining beautifully around the green stalk hoops. I love these hoops, friends. They are just so helpful and it makes it look so beautiful. And as I have shared before, these 4 are for my garlic and I don't plan to do anything, although it seems like the Tulsi basil is doing phenomenal in here. So it's pretty much for the Tulsi holy basil. Friends, look at how huge this has gotten. Do you know this is out of one pocket? Look at how big this is. Look at how big that is. It is absolutely gorgeous. It's in this pocket right here. I know it looks like it's coming out of there. I actually thought it was coming out of there, but look at all that from one pocket. It's beautiful. I love it. So here's what we're going to do. Because I have some space here, I'm going to add the 2 last 3-tier black green stalks that I have right here. I just put the bottom one here for now, but I am going to be adding them here. And then I'm actually going to do a separate shallot harvest video out of these 2 maple 3-tier green stalks that I bought during the clearance sale because I did not realize how well the shallots were doing, but look at how gorgeous that looks. So I'm gonna give this a little bit more time. I'm going to wait for some of these tops to die back so that I could do a harvest video of these. And just like the blackberry green stalk that I had my onions in the backyard, these 4 that I had my onions in, I am also going to be adding leeks in here so that I can harvest those throughout the fall and hopefully going into winter. Now, this is what I'm the most excited to show you. I mean, the shallots were really exciting, but do you see this ginger and turmeric out of the 3-tier black green stalk? Look at how massive these have gotten. Look at how beautiful everything is doing. And there's still shoots that are growing. Look at that compared to my hand. I mean, just gorgeous. Beautiful. Everything's doing really good. And then here is the ginger over here. So this right here is the turmeric. And then we have the ginger over here. Now, I did a thorough video on planting the ginger and turmeric in here. I will leave that video down below if you'd like to check that out. But for the most part, what I ended up doing was putting 2 pieces per tier. Now, I think I did test out and putting 3. I have to go back and look at the tags, but I did not plant it in every pocket because I wanted to test this out first, because my grow bags that I always grow my ginger and turmeric in, I always put anywhere from 3 to 5 pieces per bag. And those are, I think, it's either 20 or 25 gallon grow bag. And those do really good every year. So I just decided to do 2, maybe 3 pieces per tier. And so far it's doing really good. Now, for my last 5-tier weave black green stalk, I'm actually going to be putting it in here between my other green stalks that I've had for a really long time. But we're going to put that one here, and then I decided to put the peppercorn in between the raspberries and blueberries and my lemon and lime trees. The only one I have to figure out is the red one right here. I'm not sure if I'm going to have it down here on the driveway or if I'm going to put it in the backyard garden. But this is where I planted all the jicama, and I am super excited. I'm really hoping that this works out. This one, I'm not sure what I'm planting in here, and the other ones, I'm not sure what I'm planting in here, but I do have some leftover pepper plants, and I might end up getting a head start on some fall veggies coming. I'm not entirely sure yet. What I did end up doing, and I'm so glad that I finally got around to it, I did clean up my perennial tower. So I have mojito mint, yarrow, stinging nettle, marshmallow, and then I did put these little pepper plants at the very bottom. And friends, there's a lot of little peppers. You can't really see them because they're super tiny. It's starting to get dark out. But I finally came over, strawed, cleaned everything up so that we can start hopefully harvesting some of the little peppers as well as some of the herbs. The strawberries here are still doing good. I have not taken my strawberry starts out of the little berry cups yet. I need to do that because there's pockets that need to be planted. So I will get to that. But so far, everything is looking really healthy. And then potatoes, I will be, as I've shared before, I will be planting some in here for the fall. Now with this Greenstalk right here, I still have a lot of my spring veggies in here, but you know what I'm really excited about? Look at how well the fennel is doing in here. I'm actually very surprised at how well it's growing in here. I've not had the best experience with growing fennel, especially in the Greenstalk. Now there's a few other ones that are down below. They're not as big, but this one is just, it's looking really nice. And the celery is still doing good. I want to give this a little bit more time. There's a couple of other spots I have celery, but I want to see if I can grow it out a little bit bigger. So for the most part, that is pretty much celery, fennel, amaranth. The amaranth is doing really good. And then I did have some dandelion in there, but I'm probably going to need to take them out because the heat has just been too much. One of them already flowered. So I'm not sure what I'm going to put in place of this because everything is still growing really good and I don't want to take anything out yet. And for this pepper Greenstalk, I know we already talked about it, but everything is just growing so good. And I don't know, I've contemplated whether or not to overwinter these peppers, but this was also the Greenstalk that I had that beautiful cabbage in. So I've not figured out what I'm going to do with this one for the fall going into the winter. But right now I am enjoying the peppers and these beautiful, gorgeous flowers. Look at how beautiful these flowers are. I believe this is the marigold, like Cracker Jack. Yes, I had to check. It's the Cracker Jack. They're so pretty and look how healthy they look. So stunning. All right, friends, before it gets completely dark on me, let's go ahead and see what we harvested today. Okay, so I love using Greenstalks trays and I think I'm going to be using them from now on when we harvest because it's just, I love how it's got the handle, it's big, and it just seems to carry everything really well. But we got ourselves a lot of cucumbers. Now there's one that has a cucumber worm. I'm gonna have to check on that, make sure it's okay. If not, not a big deal. But look at all of those. Every week we've been harvesting cucumbers. I am so excited about that. Then we got ourselves some peppers. Lots of red ones. This one gets me the most excited right here because this is the first time I've ever grown yellow monster and it's gorgeous. Look at the color of that. So happy about this one. We got ourselves some Jimmy Nardellos. We got ourselves some more jalapeno peppers, and I feel like the plants on this Greenstalk and some of the ones on the trellis back there have an abundance of jalapenos. And then we got ourselves some cherry tomatoes, but I think I'm most excited about the independent. Let me put this on. I'm most excited about the independent because this is the first time I've ever grown independent and it's a bushing tomato. And I really, listen, I love large size tomatoes. I love cherry tomatoes, but I really like these sizes for many reasons. One, I can throw this in a salad, or if I wanted to make one sandwich and I didn't need an entire tomato, I can slice this up and it's big enough to cover a sandwich, but without having leftovers. So I'm pretty happy about what I'm seeing so far. Now we're going to be using this in our recipe, which I will show you here in just a minute, but yeah, and I hope they taste good too. So it's my first time growing them, like I said, but we'll have to see how they taste and how they do, but so far they're looking good. Hey friends, now it's time to make our beautiful summer recipe. Here are all the beautiful tomatoes that we harvested from the Greenstalks, as well as all of the peppers and cucumbers. I cannot wait to chop up the yellow pepper and put that into the salad. Now I will be taking the skins off of the cucumbers and everything's going to be chopped up into bite-sized pieces. So for example, I took a cherry tomato and I cut them in quarters. You can cut them in halves or however you would like to chop them up for your salad. And then what I like to do is get a big bowl and just start chopping and putting everything into that bowl. So let's go ahead now, and I'm going to chop up those tomatoes and put them all in the bowl. So here are all the tomatoes, and I did have some dill that I grabbed from the garden. Now, I typically like to put basil in there, but I wanted to switch it up and try dill. You can put any herb in your salad and just have fun with it. So I chopped it up as small as I could, threw that in there, and then I grabbed an onion that I also harvested from the garden. I love to have the purple onion in there, chopped up very small. So I went ahead and chopped them up, and I'm just going to put that into the bowl. And then my dear sweet husband helped me out, and he actually took all the skins off the cucumbers and chopped them up in quarters so that we can put them into the salad. I'm so grateful anytime I get help from my hubby. After I chop up all the cucumbers and put them into the bowl, which by the way, friends, that scraper and stainless steel cutting board, I will try to have in my Amazon storefront. I really do like them. But then we went on to the peppers, and same with these. I just put them in there because we will be mixing them all together at the end. And then I like to use a measuring cup so I don't overdo it with the dressing because I have a tendency to do that. But when I tell you, friends, that this dressing is my go-to, it's my favorite. I buy it from Azure. I love it. And so I will put it all over and then just mix everything together. Now you could use a different dressing, any dressing of your choice. This is my go-to with the Meyer lemon vinaigrette from Azure. And then what I love to do is add feta cheese. Now I buy this feta cheese from Azure as well in bulk, and I like to sprinkle it on top of my salad, but you can use any cheese of your choice, or you don't have to use cheese. You can just have fun and add whatever you want. And then what I like to do is store it in this big mason container for leftovers for other dinners. And I will also make sure that this container is in my Amazon storefront because I did buy it from there and I really like it. If you try the salad, I hope you really like it. Well, friends, I am so glad that you all stopped by. I love turning this camera on and sharing the Greenstalks with you because every year I grow in them, they always blow me away. I'm always surprised at how beautiful things grow, how big things get, the abundance of food and flowers that come out of a Greenstalk that takes up 2 feet of space. It just blows me away every year. And so I myself love to always push the envelope too and test things out and try new things. And that's really how I learn how to garden and figure out what works best for me. And I also want you to know that I greatly appreciate every single one of you. And I want you to know that your comments really encourage me. I mean, my hope is to encourage you along my journey, but I want you all to know that you guys really encourage and inspire me too. And I also want you to remember this, friends. I want you to be encouraged, stay encouraged, and I want you to always stay inspired. And I'll see y'all next time. Bye.